This is Utah, and in this film I cycle 700 miles across the south of the state, bikepacking from Moab to Zion, solo and unsupported, mostly on the back roads, in early winter, November 2024. Things don't go according to plan, but therein lies the adventure, and I can't think of a better way than a bicycle to explore some of the most spectacular desert landscapes in the world. My journey starts in Moab, where I arrived towards the end of October, following my ride down the Great Divide and across Colorado. Moab is one of the world's great adventure meccas, and I spend an amazing fortnight exploring the area, although 2 weeks is definitely not enough time, and Moab is somewhere that I will 100% be coming back to. I celebrate my birthday with a super fun climb up an iconic rock tower called Ancient Art. So thanks again to Strawn for hooking me up. This place is spectacular. Aside from Ancient Art, the highlight of my time in Moab is a loop around the White Rim Trail in Canyonlands National Park, which I ride unsupported over 3 days and 2 nights. The White Rim Trail is breathtaking, one of my favourite bikepacking routes I've ever ridden, and doing it this late in the season means I have the place pretty much to myself, with only a few 4x4s sharing the road. It's with great difficulty that I finally drag myself away from Moab and get back in the saddle, heading south. Okay, so I have just left Moab and I'm currently on my way out to Lockhart Basin, which is going to be an absolutely stunning section that I'm really looking forward to. It's a beautiful day. We just had 2 days of rain that have made things a little bit muddy, but hopefully it's going to mean that the sandy sections are a little bit easier. And yeah, this is the start really. I've had 2 incredible weeks in Moab area, done some unbelievable riding, did some great climbing, and just, yeah, the whole area is absolutely amazing. But I am so freaking excited for the rest of Utah, for the next month of making my way through to Las Vegas. I make it comfortably through Lockhart Basin Road, leaving the Canyonlands behind as I make my way out of the desert and then up into the mountains. It's now early November. Nights have been getting gradually colder for weeks, and I'm about to get my first real taste of what winter in Utah will be like. Alright, so I made it to the top of this pass here in the Abajo Mountains, and I've now got the descent down into Monticello. It's getting late, the sun is going to be setting in about 5 minutes time, and so I'm probably going to have to do this descent in the dark. As you can see, it's a little bit wintry out here. It's been a really cool climb up through the snow, but it's pretty cold. It's currently -5 Celsius, so I am going to get myself down from this mountain. So I was very happy to have shelter last night. It was a pretty crazy storm. Dropped to I think about -10 Celsius, and the wind was just crazy. It was a proper blizzard. But yeah, I managed to get myself a cheap motel, and I'm now back on the road headed south. And yeah, I'm going to be going quite a long way downhill today, so hopefully I'll get back below the snow line and it will warm up. And yeah, excited to get south, and the next big stop is going to be Monument Valley. So I have made it back down into the desert and down below the snow, and I should be in Monument Valley tomorrow, which is pretty awesome. Still pretty cold down here, but a lot warmer than it was up there. I mean, winter travel is definitely challenging. It's not just the cold. The main thing that I find frustrating is the dark, because right now it's about 4:30 p.m, which is pretty early, but it's going to be dark in 45 minutes. But it is also really cool this time of year because it's just got this weird apocalyptic end of the world feel to it. There's nobody out here, all of the tourists have long gone. The locals feel like they're going into hibernation. Everything seems very slow and winding down. So if you're still out, still moving, you kind of have it to yourself. It's a really cool feeling. And yeah, it certainly feels like an adventure being out here this late in the year. It's dropping below freezing basically every night at this point. not much above freezing during the day either. But yeah, really, really cool place. And I'm super excited to get out to Monument Valley tomorrow. So I have been looking forward to coming to Monument Valley since I first watched Forrest Gump as a kid. And I've got to be honest, I've been actually kind of disappointed for a decent chunk of today. I mean, it's been kind of cool, but it hasn't really inspired me in the way that I maybe hoped that it would. But the last hour since I hit golden hour basically, and the light has been amazing, and I've been going the other way, and I've just had one of my favorite sunsets of the year over Monument Valley at Forrest Gump Point. And it's just ludicrously beautiful here. And it's all worth it. So my inner child is very happy. Absolutely, absolutely stoked. But yeah, anyway, we got some pedestrians trying to take photos that nearly got run over just there. This car just nearly knocked somebody over. Tourists, they don't live very long. But anyway, yeah, amazing place. And now I need to go find somewhere to camp fairly quickly before it gets too dark. What a day. Phew. So you have to admit that the Valley of the Gods is a pretty damn good name for a place like this. I mean, it's just preposterously beautiful out here. And this time of year, there's nobody here. I've got the whole place to myself. The road is amazing. It's such nice riding. The weather's even great right now. It's the perfect temperature. I just can't believe how good this is. I am feeling very, very grateful right now. This place is mind-blowing. And right now, it's all mine. It's crazy that you've got Monument Valley just around the corner and it's full of people. And then here you've got a place that I would argue is actually much more beautiful, the Valley of the Gods. And there is nobody here. I guess that is the dirt road effect. Keeps the tourists away. And yeah, I can't believe how pretty it is. Ah, having the best day ever. This place is crazy. So this is the Moki Dugway, and this has got to be up there with one of the coolest climbs I have ever done in my life. This is just absolutely ludicrous how beautiful this climb is and how beautiful this view is. I am just giddy right now. This is incredible. And it's such a nice climb. And right now I've got the golden light. I'm hoping I'm going to just about make it up to my camp spot for the sunset. But yeah, my God, it is beautiful here. I camp on the cliff top at Muley Point, then watch the sun rise the next morning over a spectacular landscape of canyons and cliffs, with views all the way out to Monument Valley in the distance. Very grateful for the warmth of the morning sun, I pack up and hit the road heading north. The next section will take me over the mountains of the Bears Ears National Monument, down to the Colorado River, and then back up through the desert to Hanksville. So, to state the painfully obvious, water is definitely a challenge out here in the desert because there are almost no natural sources and there's really nothing out here, so you have to be very switched on to make sure you got enough water. So I've just done a 5-kilometer detour of my route to the visitor center here at the Natural Bridges National Monument. So I'm currently fueled up with 9 liters of water and 3 days of food, which should see me comfortably to Hanksville and the next resupply point. So what is worse than headwind? If you ask any cyclist, headwind is probably going to be the worst thing, but there is something worse than headwind, and it is of course peanut butter mud. And I have run into, I think, probably the worst peanut butter mud I have ever encountered. And it has taken me about 2 hours to push the last 1.5 kilometers. And I've just been praying that I would make it up to the junction with the next road, and that the next road would be better quality and that things would be better. But unfortunately, having just hiked up a little bit further to see what that road looks like, it is actually worse than my current road. I'm struggling even to walk on it without the bike. It's just incredibly slippery and the mud is so heavy. I mean, I'm averaging less than 1 kilometre an hour out here. And it's just absolutely exhausting. And it's looking like this road is continuing to go up. I'm also going uphill. So yeah, unfortunately, I think I'm gonna have to turn back. I really hate having to turn back in general, but this is just impossible right now. I mean, I would say it's gonna take me, at the speed I'm doing, and for how long I expect this is gonna go on for, it's gonna take me like 2 days just to get over this pass. And then I still have another 2 days ride back to town, and I only have another 2 days of food because I wasn't banking on this. So I think I've got no choice really at this point to turn around. But anyway, for now I've got my hands full. I've got to go back through this nightmare of peanut butter mud and get back hopefully soon to rideable conditions again. Oh well, type 2 fun. At least it's beautiful up here. At least the sun is shining, that's good. A lot of positives, so never mind, that's how it goes. But yeah, I guess I had better get on with it. And if you were wondering, yes, there are definitely bears up here in Utah. It's about as clear as it could be, I think. So I am back at my camp spot from last night. I have to say, from a bike packing perspective, today has probably been the worst day of the year. Had a lovely first few hours of the day, climbing up the pass, some really beautiful views, but then I hit the start of the peanut butter mud and it just got worse and worse and worse. It just became absolute hell, this horrible clay mud. I mean, I'm not unfamiliar with peanut butter mud, but this is easily the worst I've ever found. The bike was so heavy with mud that I could barely lift it off the ground. So I was pretty much just having to lift it every step. And this thing is double the weight, at least, with all of that mud on there. And so very, very reluctantly, I have had to backtrack and give up on this route that I had planned and come all the way back here. And I'm now gonna have to go and pretty much get on the road because yeah, that route is clearly impassable at this time of year. The sign did try and warn me that it was impassable when wet, but I guess I'd hoped that it wouldn't be as bad. This early in the year, I didn't think enough snow had come down yet for it to be that bad, but yeah, it seems like the high passes are going to be done for the year now, unfortunately. And yeah, it's been a day, but that's okay. Bad days happen and you need them to appreciate the good days. And I'm still mobile, so that's positive. I'm covered in mud and my bike is filthy, but that's okay too. We'll get it clean. It's been a bad day, but we've got through it. And yeah, I guess I better get on with it. The light is fading. So this is so freaking cool. I'm riding by moonlight in the desert. There is nobody else around. It's super beautiful. It's cold, it's crisp, it's around about freezing right now, but I'm warm from pedaling and I'm feeling amazing. I love that I've gone from a seriously challenging type 2 fun type of day with the mud today to just popping down to the visitor center to get some water, and there were a few people down there. A couple of people gave me sandwiches and fruit, took pity on me. And yeah, now I'm riding out in this amazing desert and it's just so beautiful out here. The stars are great, the moon is out. Oh, life is really good, you know? There's something really special about being on your own in deserts at night and riding. It's something I've really loved in so many deserts around the world. It's such a special thing. So Very happy to be here. What a beautiful place. And what a cool way to travel. After more than 5 years of cycling around the world, I'm still so in love with this means of travel and this lifestyle. It's just so beautiful. The next morning, I pack up a frozen tent with frozen fingers and spend the day making my way north, crossing the Colorado River and riding through some really beautiful landscapes. So although I'm a little disappointed to have had to bail on my planned route, I still get to enjoy a really great ride. Traffic is very light even on the highway. I see very few people, and I can't tell you how good it feels to be riding on a surface that's 100% mud-free. I arrive in Hanksville in the late afternoon. I camp just out of town, and then I take a day off to clean the rest of the clay off my bike and give my legs a bit of a break, before heading out into the desert once again. Okay, so just getting 5 days worth of food packed onto my bike to head out to spend the next few days in Capitol Reef. My next resupply point is going to be Boulder, and I am going to be taking it kind of slow because there's a few places I want to camp for the sunrise and sunset. So 5 days worth of food here on the bike, which is pretty easy. Pretty limited in grocery options at the grocery store here in Hanksville. Not a lot of choice, so I'm going to be living on instant ramen for the next 5 days, and breakfast is going to be instant oats every day, and lunch is going to be breakfast bars, pretty much. But there is a little bit of spice. I do have some Oreos. Carry cookies with you at all times, just for morale. So I don't have entirely boring food, but mostly boring. Welcome to the life of a desert bike packer. Beggars can't be choosers. But yeah, everything has been decanted out of its boxes, put into Ziploc or just pulled apart, so it's all pretty well organized. Today I'm going to be riding up to Goblin Valley State Park, which a lot of people have told me is one of the most beautiful parts of the whole state, so I'm very excited to get to explore that a little bit, and then it's going to be into Cathedral Valley, so the next few days should be really spectacular. So I have to admit that when I first saw Goblin Valley, I was actually a little disappointed. It just seemed a little bit underwhelming, but the more I've explored, the more I appreciate how cool this place is. It's just a playground out here. You can climb on everything, and it's beautiful. There's not too many people here, and yeah, it's just really, really cool. It's just so charming. You can just follow all these little gullies and climb on the goblins, and you're just finding cool new viewpoints, cool new places. I love it. I want to bring all of my friends here and have a big game of, I don't know, hide and seek or capture the flag. You get the idea. This place is just so damn cool. Goblin Valley would definitely recommend. I watch the sunset over Goblin Valley. I camp under a full moon and then hike out to a cave known as the Goblin's Lair for the sunrise the following morning. I then get back on my bike and head west, skimming the edge of the San Rafael swell as I make my way towards Cathedral Valley and Capitol Reef National Park. The landscapes are lunar, empty, vast, and utterly silent. I don't see another person all day as I ride through a rippling ocean of sand and rock. This is a totally different type of desert to what I've been riding through only a few days before. White instead of red, whereas the Valley of the Gods could have passed for Mars, now it feels like nothing so much as cycling on the surface of the moon. I reach another clifftop campsite just as the sun is setting. The aptly named Moonscape Overlook is breathtaking, with sweeping panoramic views down over the landscape I spent most of the day riding through. Wild camping is probably my favourite aspect of travelling on a bicycle. Why would you want to go to a hotel or a formal campsite when you could have a place like this all to yourself all without paying a penny. The next morning, I leave the lunar plains behind and pedal into Cathedral Valley, where I meet my friend Jen, who's driven out from Colorado for a couple of days of cycling. The Cathedral Valley loop is stunning, and I'm again struck by how different it is. Southern Utah is mostly a desert, yes, but it's so many different types of desert. The diversity and variety within a relatively small area is super impressive, and it makes for such an interesting and diverse ride. Wow, that water is really, really cold. After finishing up in Cathedral Valley, I make my way up the bird trail and then through the middle of Capitol Reef, on a quiet and wonderful road that eventually brings me back to civilization in the small town of Boulder. From Boulder, it's a short but spectacular ride to the larger town of Escalante. It's honestly wild how stunning Utah is. If you put this road anywhere on Earth, it would be a massive highlight. But in Utah, it's par for the course. Still spectacular, for sure, but the rule rather than the exception. For scenery and roads, Utah is right up there with the best in the world. Okay, so I made it to Escalante. Had a really beautiful ride through the rest of Capitol Reef and made it to Escalante a few days ago. After my coldest night of camping so far in the US, got dropped down to minus 11 Celsius or 12 Fahrenheit. So it's definitely getting chilly, and I'm super happy to have had a warm bed and a super comfy hotel room for a few nights to catch up on some work and just take a bit of a rest. Thank you to the Canyon Country Lodge in Escalante, who hooked me up for the last couple of days. So if you guys are ever in Escalante, would really recommend checking this hotel out. It's beautiful. And I'm now getting set for the final cold section, the next 5 or 6 days through to Zion National Park, where I'm finally gonna drop down quite a bit of elevation and it should be a little bit warmer. So today I'm gonna be on my way to Bryce Canyon and then up and around Zion. The forecast is still looking pretty cold at the moment. It might well drop even lower than minus 11 at some point over the next few nights because I'm going even higher up into the mountains. I'm going to be at about 3,000 meters at one point, whereas now I'm only at about 2,000, so it's likely to be a few cold nights out there, but it is going to be worth it. It's going to be a really beautiful ride, so I had better get going. To get over to Bryce Canyon, I've chosen a route called Old Escalante Road. It leads over another high pass, and I'm admittedly a little concerned that I might have a repeat of my slightly traumatic peanut butter mud incident, but thankfully it's cold enough that the ground is frozen, and although I run into a bit of snow, it's not deep, and I'm able to comfortably make it over the pass without incident. Utah is such an amazing place. It's crazy that only a day's ride ago I was deep in the desert. I mean, real desert, not a tree in sight. And now I'm just riding through this really beautiful forest. There's open plains, it's all green. It's just so beautiful, and in another day or so I'm gonna be back in the desert again. And yeah, it's keeping it so interesting. It's just crazy that all of this is so close. But yeah, what a beautiful day, it's so crisp. Had a really lovely day riding over from Escalante, and I'm now pretty close to Bryce Canyon, where I should be spending tomorrow hiking around the park. But yeah, it's such a cool place. Really loving the ride right now. Good morning. So it dropped down to nearly minus 12 Celsius last night, and I was up at 5:30 to ride out into Bryce Canyon National Park. And the sun is going to be rising in the next 10 or 15 minutes. I'm out here at Sunset Point. There are 3 major viewpoints here. Inspiration Point is up there somewhere. This is Sunset Point. And Sunrise Point is over there. And you won't be able to see easily in the video, but Sunrise Point has a ton of people. I can see loads of people up there. an inspiration point, I can also see a bunch of people over there, but Sunset Point has nobody, even though the view is pretty much the same, arguably better, or at least different. But that's marketing for you. People want to go to Sunrise Point at sunrise and Sunset Point at sunset. But if you want to be a rebel and go to Sunset Point at sunrise, you have the entire place to yourself. Not a human in sight. Look at that. And it is absolutely beautiful. So yeah, definitely worth the -12 and the early start. I spend most of the day hiking around Bryce Canyon. Bryce is a national park I've wanted to visit for years, and it more than lives up to expectations. The hoodoos are amazing to walk through, and this late in the year there are only a few other tourists around, so it's all pretty quiet. I really enjoy Bryce. It's such an interesting and unusual park. First occupied by native people as far back as 1200 AD, the striking red colour of the rocks in Bryce is caused by iron oxide, or basically rust. I didn't know that rocks could rust, but there you go. It's a very, very cool place. I eventually drag myself away from Bryce, get back in the saddle, and set my sights on my last major stop in Utah, one I've been dreaming about for years. Zion National Park is the park I've been looking forward to in Utah probably more than any other. And to add to my excitement, Zion is also more than 1,000 meters lower in elevation than Bryce. And I know that that massive elevation difference is going to make a huge difference to the temperature. I've been dealing with below freezing temperatures since Colorado, and my gear is just about coping with the cold. I'm able to sleep through the night without waking up shivering, which is the main thing, but it definitely isn't comfortable, and I don't look forward to the sun going down every night. This night is the coldest I've ever camped through, dropping to -15 Celsius or 5 Fahrenheit, and I can't wait to drop down to more reasonable temperatures before things get any tougher than they already are. Before I can get there though, I have more mountains to cross, and one last painful day of riding into a strong and frigid headwind. I finally reached the high point of my route in Utah at almost 3,000 meters, just as the sun is setting. Rather than deal with another freezing night of camping at elevation, I opt to make a start on the descent in the dark, and I get to enjoy my first night of camping above freezing in what feels like a really long time. From there, it's just one last day's ride down into Zion. A few last climbs, a long and glorious descent into the valley, and the greater part of my ride through Utah is over. It's not quite the end. I still have a few hundred kilometers to ride to reach the state border with Nevada, but Zion is the last major highlight I've been waiting for. Utah is such a special place. More than anywhere else in the US, Utah was the state I'd been most excited for. Expectations like that can be dangerous, and yet Utah still far surpassed my hopes. It is magical, wild, vast, and diverse. I've cycled across so many deserts in my life, but aside perhaps from the breathtaking majesty of Wadi Rum in Jordan, I can't think of anywhere more impressive than southern Utah. It captivated me, and I can't wait to get back out there one day soon. As happy as I was to be riding down into Zion, part of me was a little bit sad because it meant that my ride through Utah was just about done. But all things must come to an end. And what better place than Zion for finishing off one of the best and most spectacular rides of my life.
Find on through all these doors, touring basement couches and living room floors, on to the next town, to the next show, 'cause I went and caught a dream and I can't let go. Been trying to break into some boys club, they got cigars in that dry rub. Sing them on my songs to see what I got. I wanted to get older, where the flowers hit the trees, where the lakes flow to the rivers and the rivers throw a breeze. Raise a couple kids, becoming number the same damn thing. But the sound of this band hitting that note takes this drowning man and it makes him float.